So we begin our record, and we have with us the investigations journalist Franco Fracassi. Today is 29th March 2023. And we are really interested what is happening in Italy. But I ask him to tell us, to share with us a little bit about his life and how he became a journalist. Very short.
No, because I'm not used to talk about myself, but I mean, if you're interested in, I started journalism in 1988, so 35 years that I'm a journalist, and in those years I spent most of the time doing investigation journalism, but also trying to covering all the most important events in Europe, in the world. I was war correspondent for 16 years, and practically I covered all the wars started since the Yugoslavian war in 1992 until now, the last one in Ukraine. I was recently in Donbass. And I also covered many important events like the fall of the Berlin Wall, the G8 in Genoa in 2001, or the coup d'etat in Russia in the 90s, and many others relevant events. And I was in general correspondent for many years, so I traveled all around the world trying to show how the world is and how the world, I mean, how is complicated the war, and which are the worst thing that how to say that transform the world that as we know in something that we have to fight for to transform in something better that is at the moment. I also interviewed many of the important people in different countries, like presidents or important politicians, or I don't know, generals, and so and so. So that's my job. And since 2004, I work by myself, not as a freelance, but totally by myself. So I'm doing the reportages or investigations, and I transform those those works in books or films. And I realized 15 different movies, I mean documentary movies, investigation movies. Some of them have won prize in film festivals or around the world, and I wrote 29 books, and I'm still writing. I'm in writing all the books at the moment about all the subject, and with my books and movies I covered many important subjects like international terrorism, or the mafia and the criminal organizations, the the weapon traffic, and I don't know, all the stuff about the intelligence service all around the world, and many other things like that. Also the finance, the finance corporation around the world, and what they are doing, the bad things that they are doing in many countries. So that's my job. That's what I'm today.
So, and for that we called you because we are worried about what is happening in this moment in Italy, but you know that what is happening has a longer history, so you can put across really what is with Italy and what is Italy for the international situation also. So I give you the word. Thank you.
Okay, so I wrote 3 books about the subject that we are talking about today, and 3 investigation books, and I'm trying to explain easily. After the discovery of DNA in the world, I mean human DNA, and there was an Australian scientist who discovered a new way to develop the experiments. I mean, experiments with virus and bacteria. This kind of experiments called gain of function. In practically, they take virus or bacteria that are totally not dangerous for us, for a human, for humans, and they transform with a bioengineering. They transform these viruses in something very dangerous for us. They create weapons. I mean, in effect, they create weapons. They work, most of them, they work for the Ministry of Defense in different countries, especially for the Pentagon, the US Ministry of Defense. And with this, and the Pentagon invested about $300 billion of dollars in last 20 years to develop new hills, new epidemics around the world. I mean, practically all the epidemics that appeared in the world in last 20 years are all made by humans. They are not natural. No one of those are natural. Not the SARS, not the MERS, not the Ebola, or I don't know, any. I mean, anthrax, any of them. No one of them is authentic. All of them are made in factories. I mean, in biolaboratories that are like factories that realize weapons. All of those epidemics are made, comes from weapons. Especially United States in last 20 years developed a network, create network all around the world that has more than 350 biolaboratories, military biolaboratories around the world in many, many different countries in all the continents. And those biolaboratories, they work all together in a network. They are connected, and they any of them produce different viruses, different bacteria, and different weapons. In the same laboratories, they prepare also the protection by the viruses that we call vaccines. They are not in fact vaccines, but they produce that in the same laboratories. Like, for example, in the laboratory of Wuhan, from where comes the SARS-CoV-2, how you call it?
Can I help you?
Le aziende, sorry, the corporation like Pfizer or AstraZeneca or Johnson & Johnson, they worked on it, on the vaccines, since 2012 in the same laboratory of Wuhan. So it's false that they are started to work around the vaccines just in 2020. They started 8 years, at least 8 years before, because those vaccines, they were prepared to protect militaries in a hypothetical war started by the virus SARS-CoV-2. You understand what I mean? So we have more than 350 military laboratories. We have the big pharma with the farm corporation who works in the same laboratories. We have weapons produced in those laboratories, and we had also a country that was something like an hub of all this network, and this country was Ukraine. Ukraine was chosen by the Americans, by the US, because during the Soviet era, the Soviets were the most advanced. They did the most advanced research over the microbiology, and in their laboratories there were weapons much more advanced than in the US laboratories. So when the USSR stopped to exist, the Americans tried to buy all the I would say the archive, all the stock of the Russian and Soviet weapons, biological weapons. The only country who sold the stock and also the biolaboratory the laboratories was Ukraine, because they need money, and the US bought for $2 billion more than 30 laboratories in Ukraine with all the viruses inside, and also all the scientists inside. I mean, the Ukrainian scientists. And so United States used this small network of Ukraine laboratories to transform it in a world hub, international hub of all the network of more than 350 laboratories that United States have around the world. In Ukraine, they did something more. They forced the Ukrainian government and the Ukrainian parliament to do a law, to implement a law, a new law, which permit any laboratory, could be a pharmaceutical laboratory or military laboratory, is not important, to use humans as a I don't know the word in English, cavie.
Guinea pig. Guinea pig.
Yeah.
Guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
Oh.
Pig.
So to use humans as guinea pig, without risk any jail, because in Ukraine is not a crime. And so all the pharmaceutical corporation went to Ukraine to start to experiment any sort of medicine, because they had no risk to break the law, because the law permit this kind of things. And now there are thousands and thousands of Ukrainian citizens that have inside the blood many different anticorps of unknown viruses, because they are viruses created in those laboratories. They not exist in nature. So the problem is that in last year, Russia invaded Ukraine. So at that moment, the US had to find another place to transfer this hub of laboratories, because some of those laboratories fall under the Russian troops, and others, they were destroyed. So even the laboratories that are safe now, they are not secure. So they need to transfer this network in a different country. They tried first to transfer everything in Indonesia, but the Indonesian government said no, because it was too dangerous for them, for the Indonesian population. And so they just turned ahead in the west direction, in this case, and they decided to transfer all this network in Italy. So Italy risked to transform it in the new Ukraine. They started with 2 laboratories, one in a military base based in Sicily called Sigonella, and they built a second laboratory in Trieste, which is a city in the northeast of Italy, close to the Slovenian border. But the most important step was made through the PNRR, which is the plan, the giant plan that this country, Italy, has to transform his economy for the future. More than 220 billions of euros are arriving to Italy to transform his economy, to transform his society. And the problem that this plan was not written by the Italian government, but was written by American US corporation called McKinsey, which is a corporation whose whose administration board, whose board is the component of the board are all former CIA officers. So, I mean, we can say that McKinsey is the CIA, is the same
Yes.
thing. So
one moment, we have one question. Why Italy and not Spain or other whatever
because
other country?
Because there is a treaty between Italy and US, treaty that was signed in 1943, 80 years ago. And in this treaty, Italy accepted to be slave of United States. I mean, I'm sorry if I use this word, but is in the fact is what's happened in those 80 years. So Washington called and Rome answered always. That's the point. I was talking about McKinsey and our government. So the former Italian government, led by Mario Draghi, decided not to write the PNRR, but to offer to McKinsey for just 25,000 euros, which is nothing. They gave 25,000 euros to McKinsey to write the PNRR. So Italy, the Italian government, decided that the PNRR, which is very important for the future of this country, practically the Italy in the next 20, 30, 40 years, how it will appear in the future, has been decided by the American government, which is quite, I mean, I think is something very bad and something very wrong, because no one country can accept it, something like that. But the point is that the McKinsey, so the CIA, inside the PNRR, they wrote that the Italy and the European Union, through Italy, they will finance the building of 20 different biolaboratories, one in each Italian region. And this is the way of US to transfer the network from Ukraine to an Italian network, which will be the hub of the American Military International Biolaboratories Network, and from which probably will come the next pandemic. I mean, Bill Gates said the future will be, I mean, we will leave the future as a pandemic after another one. I mean, that will be the future. Our recent past, it's in fact a sort of entree of our future. And so if in Italy they will build such a network, the probability that the next virus, the next pandemic will come from Italy is very, very high, because they will work in this biolaboratories very dangerous viruses. We know that because they wrote this, so we know exactly, because they wrote on the documents that will transform and they will create very dangerous viruses in these new laboratories. And we also know that these laboratories are not safe at all in the world. I mean, the normal laboratories, and in particular in Italy, they will build some of them in the earthquake areas, so very dangerous areas, not safe at all. So the probability that the new virus, the new SARS-CoV-2, the new COVID-19 will come from Italy are very, very high. Or we try to, if we stop this network, it will be okay. And this what we are trying to do, because we are trying to stop the first of these laboratories that will be built in Pesaro, which is a medium-sized town in the northeast of Italy, in the center east of Italy. And next month, practically next month, May 1st, in Pesaro, it will be a huge national demonstration, and there will come dozens of thousands of people from all around the country, and we hope also from other countries, to try to stop the building of this laboratory. And in this case, we have a chance, because the city hall of Pesaro, the Pesaro city hall, has to vote. They have to still to vote some of the decisions that they have to make to build this laboratory. And the city of such a town is not the Italian government, is not the US government, is not the European Union, is not the OMS. So we have the chance, because they are weak, they are not so strong. So we have the chance to, if we reach our goal to stop the Pesaro City Hall, we can beat the Pentagon, because it's a chain. that starts from the Pentagon and arrives to Pesaro. And the chain which is very strong, but the last ring of the chain, which is the Pesaro City Hall, is not strong at all. So we can break the chain. We have the chance to break the chain, and if we'll get to break the chain, we could beat the Pentagon, which could be a very incredible success for all of us at the moment.
So we have some questions, Franco. Can you read that or
no, you have to read
the chat?
I don't know where are the questions, okay. So you have to read me.
Okay, so one is why not to keep the laboratories in Ukraine and let
because there is a war.
Italy? Yes,
because there is a war in Ukraine, and so they have to dismantle all the laboratories, and because some of them are under Russia now, and they have to dismantle all the other laboratories to transfer somewhere else.
And the second one, how can the chain be rocked?
Because Pesaro is a medium town where everybody knows everybody. So everybody is, I mean, the politicians in Pesaro, they live into the town. They know the people. Everybody knows them. So they are to make decisions. They take care a lot about what are thinking the population. I mean, the citizens is very important because they live inside. I mean, the politicians in Rome, we don't know who are them, and they can do everything they want, and the citizenship of Rome, they don't care. I mean, it's something very distant for us, but not in Pesaro. Pesaro, the politicians are very close to the citizens of the city, of the town. So at the moment, the people of Pesaro, they are sleeping. They are not aware of what is coming in their town. And if they were aware, because somebody, I mean, wake them up. So it's natural. I mean, it's always like that, at least in Italy, that the percentage of the population, 30, 40, 50, 60%, 70% of the population will start to say, oh, we don't want this laboratory. We don't want this thing is not in my backyard, not here. If you want to build it somewhere else, but not here. And in this case, for the Pesaro's politicians in the city hall, it will be very difficult to live in a city, in a town, where the population are against them, because the place is too small to let's be really independent, the politicians, the local politicians. So we have this chance. I mean, it's a real chance, because if we arrive in Pesaro in dozens of thousands of people, in Pesaro they are never seen a demonstration like that. So it could be like a wake up of the Pesaro citizens. And so if we'll get this goal, there is a real chance that at least 11 Pesaro's politicians change their vote and their idea. We just need to let change idea to 11 people, and if we reach this goal, we got the success.
Okay, thank you. I see Rosa. Would you like tell something? Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. My question is, why did they choose Pesaro, Perugia, and Pisa, and Trieste?
I don't know. I mean, they have to build one laboratory in every region. So these 4 towns are in 4 different regions. We have 20 regions, so they will build 20 different laboratories.
Mhm.
And the Perugia and Pesaro are also Trieste are in an area which is dangerous because there are earthquakes in these areas.
Mhm.
Every year there are small or big earthquakes. So I mean, it's like to build a nuclear power station in a place like that. I mean, like Fukushima. I don't know. It's not a right place to build such a laboratory.
Mhm.
Such a
So you-
laboratory. And the suspect that they want to create a new pandemic is very high.
Okay, so you are saying in the region of earthquake, that means if there is an earthquake, all this stuff kind of evaporates in the air and attacks people,
Yes.
no?
Mhm.
But I am surprised, why would now, let's say, local politicians wait for demonstration? Why don't they say no? We are not doing it. We are not allowing it
Because
in
they
our
are
region.
not they are ignorant about it. They don't know nothing. They don't know anything. And also because the mayor of Pesaro, he's a politician very connected to Draghi, and you know,
Mhm.
so the
That's
point is,
probably more of the reason to put in Pesaro, because he has some connection, has been
yes,
installed.
that's what that
Okay,
could be a
that
reason.
makes
Yes.
sense. You also said we need to wake them up. Why isn't the press doing it?
Because the Italian press stopped to do this job many years ago. I mean, it's a scandal. It's something. I mean, it's a shame, but it's like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's everywhere like this. I'm just flabbergasted that people kind of, destroying their own future.
Mhm.
But this is a different topic. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Astrid, thank you very much, Rosa, for your question. Astrid, where
Yes.
are you? I think
Yes.
that you had some questions too.
Yes, for me, it is a bit confusing. Firstly, we know that the war in Ukraine was really pre-planned by USA. So if they have placed all their labs in Ukraine and then know they are going to be destroyed, so and they have the law of you can use human guinea pigs. So why would they even start a war in their most important lab section? And if Italy doesn't have that law, so why would they go to Italy? And why would we believe that by doing a demonstration in wherever, politicians who have nothing to say, if everything is pre-planned, are going to make a different decision? They are just puppets.
Yes, they are puppets, but in Pesaro they live in the middle of the people. So it's I mean, it's a personal life. I mean, if for me my neighbor is very important because what thinks my neighbor, and I go to to the coffee shop every day, and I mean, I live in this place, and for me, it's very difficult to walk, to live in my place if everybody hates me. So it's, I mean, the social situation in Pesaro is it's a microcosm, which is very easy to influence it. But why? I mean, the question is, I mean, it's a important question, because the problem is that in Ukraine, the Ukraine war was not a war for money, was not a war for, I mean, for the usual things that we attribute to a war. The war in Ukraine was ideological war. So it's something completely different. And when you have ideology in front of you, you just stop to watch, stop to do normal things. There is nothing that can stop you if you're ideological extremist. That's the way, that's why the Biden administration, who push for this war, they didn't care about anything. They didn't care also about the US economy, which is in great difficulty at the moment. They didn't care about destroying the world, but they need to to beat Russia in any way. That's when you are ideological extremist. It's like the terrorist of Al Qaeda with a belt that explode in himself. I don't know how to explain. So you have just one goal, and you try to reach the goal, and it's not important if you die or if you do something horrible to the people around you. And the war in Ukraine was like that. So but of course they knew before about the war, and so there are different cables sent from the State Department, U.S. State Department, to the Ukraine laboratories, cables sent in December, in January, so before the war. And this cable is written in 1 month, in 2 months, they will start the war. So you are in danger. So take all the things and go away. And they did it. They did it. So it's.
But the question was if they planned already to do one war in Ukraine, why they build the biolaboratories on Ukraine?
Because they built 20 years ago. I mean, not now. And it was a different president and was different. I mean, 20 years ago, President Bush was very close to Putin. They were friends. So it was completely different, atmosphere. Okay. So they had no problem to build these laboratories in Ukraine.
Simone? Please. Thank you very much, Astrid, for your questions. We don't hear you. Try again. No, we don't hear you. I don't know why.
I have 5 minutes more, then okay. I have to go.
Okay, so I don't hear you, Simon. See, but last question of Astrid was why they put biolaboratories in Italy when they were in Italy. We don't have the same laws as in Ukraine.
No one country has the same law. No one country. So, but the point is, they they made all the experiments in Ukraine, so they already made everything, but they need laboratories to produce new weapons and to produce new pandemics. That's the point. If you have a pandemics, you have you have Green Pass, you have you have lockdowns, you have all the stuff that we lived in last years. And in Geneva, they are trying to implement some laws, new laws, international laws. In case of pandemics, all the sanitary system around the world will be under World Health Organization.
Please,
And,
can you close your microphone, please?
No, oh.
Simone?
And also,
Yes.
also, there is another law they are trying to apply, which said that in case of pandemics, there will be a universal Green Pass in every country in the world. So they are preparing the ground. They just need a pandemics. And the new pandemics will come from a laboratory. So they need some laboratories who produce new pandemics. That's the point. So it's something that is in interest of every person in the world.
Okay.
Because it's our future.
Yes, I think so.
Unfortunately, our future passed through Italy.
Yes, I
So
think
that's why we are trying to fight this battle.
Gianluca, please, you have some question.
Yes, the last one, because I have to go.
Posso fare in italiano, Tejas, per cortesia?
No, try to do in English. Okay, try to do one short sentence. I will try to translate in English for the people who will hear this video. Okay.
Allora, a parte i complimenti al dottor Fracassi per il lavoro che sta facendo, come Parlamento di Scopo siamo entrati in contatto con Agorà e Emil, che sarà appunto, che è referente, e tante organizzazioni, con la Città dei Ragazzi e Piccola Italia saremo a Pesaro per sostenere questa iniziativa. Da Agorà arriva l'idea di arrivare addirittura a un referendum o propositivo per una legge che impedisca l'installazione di questo tipo di laboratori, almeno a livello 3 o 4, oppure abrogativa, ma questo secondo me è più un rischio di quello che già esiste. Cosa ne pensa, Franco?
Okay, I have to translate. He's very happy to be here, and he's telling compliments about the work what Franco Fracassi is doing. Gianluca is in contact with the one association, and this association, Agora, is proposing one referendum. And what Franco Fracassi think about that? He's asking, what do you think about to do one referendum? A referendum to avoid to build biolaboratories in Italy.
I think that I don't know, because the PNRR law, it's a law which has everything inside. So I think we can change the law, of course, and could be a way to reach the goal. The problem is that in Italy, to win a referendum, you need at least 50% of population that goes to vote. And if you have 49% the people that vote, even if all these 49%, so the 100% of the 49% said, yes, we want to avoid this law, you don't win the referendum. So the referendum is something very risky for this reason. It's very difficult in Italy to win a referendum, not because we have to convince people to vote for you, for your idea, but you have also to convince many people to go to vote, which is the most difficult thing. And so I don't know if it will be a good idea. First of all, the important thing is to try to stop the Pesaro laboratory, because as we know, if the laboratory will not build in Pesaro, they will not build any laboratory around Italy. So they will stop and they will find another country to create the network.
The last question, Franco.
Mm.
What we could do more as a one manifestation, one demo, what we can do really?
We have to put pressure on the Pesaro City Hall in any case, because we cannot do anything about against our government or European Commission or things like that. They are too strong for us. Also, World Health Organization, they are too strong for us. But
tell
the
something.
Pesaro City Hall is not strong for us. I mean, it's something that we can beat. So we have to try a way to put pressure on them, the strongest pressure as we can.
And what can do the international community for Italy for this situation?
Oh, they can come to Pesaro. They can try to let know to the people of their countries what is happening in Italy. I don't know, because they cannot put pressure on their government, because I think that the government at the moment are too strong for us. I mean, we can see what's happening in France. There's practically a revolution in acting, and Macron, he just doesn't care about everything, and there is a revolution. So I mean, we have to fight the battle that we can win, and this battle we can win. That's the point.
Okay. I'm very, very grateful for your interview, Franco. I would like to know how the people who still have some question to you, can these people write to you?
Yes, they can write to me. My email address is Franco Fracassi 1 @gmail.com.
Can you write on the chat or
There is a chat here.
Franco?
Yes.
Can you write?
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just say something just very quickly, because we
But
always
I really have, I mean, it's very late.
It's not even a question. Just we always hear the word we fight. We fight, that's resistance, that's the energy's confrontation. You could just say we stop it at Pesaro. It's very powerful. You don't say we fight, we stop it at Pesaro.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Right.
Susan.
So,
And I thank you
have a
very
nice evening.
much. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye,
And
thank you.
Thank you very much.